Welcome to iHeartGeek.
And welcome to another episode of iHeartGeek.
Again, yes, welcome to iHeartGeek, the show tonight.
I need to leave the feed running in between shows because, dear God, this conversation has been everywhere.
Yeah.
Outtakes. Yeah, iHeartGeek outtakes.
Yeah,
episode.
We're gonna have some of those someday.
Blooper reel.
I always
We should
say
probably preface that with we aren't going to do the electric guitar.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, you should consider that.
I hope so. I doubt it, but I hope so.
Right.
Today's show is brought to you by the behind the scenes guys. Without them, the shows you go to would be crap. We're doing a show on theater shows,
respect, yes.
TV, live
performance,
movie venues,
all the layers of live,
and there's a lot of
performance. Yeah.
I've been to a live performance.
Once or twice.
I've been in a live performance.
No. Like from the band live. I've been to a live
Did you see them at the House of Blues?
No. It was in Omaha.
Were they throwing copper?
No. But lightning did crash though.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, we'll stop on that. Okay, I'm
better
done.
than Nickelback.
Don't. I'm Dub, and I'm your producer. I write the show, and then I'm getting better about cutting everything out, I think.
I guess.
Jason's making me.
I'm helping you.
Yes, I appreciate that.
I'm going to be your final copy guy.
Okay, that sounds like the final death. I'm the final guy.
Countdown.
There we go. Okay, and because this is your second week on the show, I'll introduce you first. We have Siege, Courtney Sheets from the Facebook page. Y'all know her, y'all love her. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Did I just say something wrong?
No.
Oh.
No.
I just figured I'd do that. What?
It didn't sound like he said sheets.
It did so, you dirty-minded.
Wow.
Trust me.
It sounds like sleets. That is like sleets.
I've gotten mail that's written incorrectly for years.
You know what? Just put the guitar on every word he says for the rest of the show.
She gave me the stink eye. She's like...
So actually, before we move on, because I realized I didn't do this on the last episode, tell us where people can get a hold of you, because I know you're very, very active in the world of social media.
I'm all over the social media.
All over it.
You can reach me at Siege Vega on Twitter.
How do you spell that?
SeegeVega.
Okay.
And I talk about all sorts of weird stuff, so I'm kind of funny. And you can reach
Not
me.
to toot my own horn.
Right. You can reach me at Courtney Sheets on Facebook. There's nothing fancy. It's just literally Courtney Sheets.
Well,
SHEETS.
If you're on the iHeartGeek Facebook page, you
will see me. My avatar is Wonder Woman. It's not right now, but it'll change periodically. And so if you see somebody with the name Courtney Sheets on a Wonder Woman avatar, then it's probably me.
Outstanding. Okay, and right next to...
Well, I know where to reach you now because you're right across the table.
That's true.
That just sounded so creepy.
It did not.
Okay.
You guys get your minds out of the gutter.
And taking the role of creepy old guy, we have Jason. How are you doing today?
I'm not creepy. But I am doing good.
Eccentric.
I am enjoying. I'm enjoying the shows that we're doing with Courtney, and this being the second one, and I guess I'm enjoying the shows I'm doing with you two guys. But your guys' minds.
I love you too, Jason.
Yeah, you guys' minds are down there.
She's prettier. It's fine.
That's kind of that's not saying much. Look at us.
She has longer hair than we do.
I do. I have a lot more hair than
At
Dub
least
does.
I have a longer
And
beard than
curly.
everybody. You know? Well, no, it's good.
No.
Well, I have more beard.
I'm pretty sure that the three of you should have a longer beard than I do.
I'm going
I mean, I'm Sicilian, but I'm not that Sicilian.
And across the table, the guy that puts people literally in the hospital, we have my buddy Kaj. How you doing?
Hi.
How you doing today?
I'm feeling good.
I don't know what that just did. That was
I
sort
guess
of
that means
weird
you have to take a kamikaze shot.
That was a weird sonic effect followed by a crescendo. That was just weird.
Just take the glass from like the top and then just pour it. So like, never mind.
See, not only should you do voiceovers, you should do special effects sounds. because you guys, that was good. I thought.
I feel like a standing ovation. How about that?
That's actually, I like that.
Okay.
You know
Did
what?
you
We
do
haven't
something
gotten
funny? Because
What?
we haven't gotten an update from you in a while. How's your voiceover class going?
It's going really well. Well, I've finished the 4-week course, just one day a week. I just got done with the video game class that was last Friday, which was amazing. And
This is when you call Carrie.
Yeah, well, and then I am doing an animation one in June, which is a lot of fun. I got my teacher who is Brent Mukai, so hopefully, hi Brent. Hopefully you're listening, and if you are, come on the show. And we just go in the in and outs of how to present yourself as a video game person for voiceover, and then we were just in the booth for like 2 hours and just had a whole bunch of different scripts and scenes, and we just kind of went back and forth. And
Nice.
It was great. Had a lovely time. Loved it.
Okay.
I dig it.
So, like we mentioned earlier, we're talking about kind of the live show venue, whatever. That's a pretty encompassing umbrella. So, without patting ourselves on the back too much, kind of what is your resume as far as so people know that we know what we're talking about in this episode? Because usually we're pretty uneducated on the stuff we talk about.
Only Game of Thrones.
Well, let's be honest. There's been a few episodes we've been like, yeah, that's the right thing. Anybody got Google?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, everybody swan dives into the cement every now and then.
Daenerys is
happens.
my favorite character.
Daenerys. Well, I'm personally fond of
just had an aneurysm.
Triaeon myself.
R2D2 is my
R2D2
is my favorite Star Trek character ever, and I want to see him on the TARDIS again.
You know what? I never knew that Aquaman was in Game of Thrones. It's just amazing. With me.
says
I'll
every
give that
woman
to you.
over 40.
All right.
You mean Jason Momoa?
You mean Kit Mama?
That Aquaman is in
Jason
the Game
Momoa.
of Thrones thing.
This is what happens when you open Pandora's box.
All that's left is hope.
So let's talk resumes. We're going to do this Kaj first. Kind of tell us what it is that you've done as far as live anything goes.
From birth till now.
Well, yeah, my first live show ever was The Birth, and
Gross.
That was my first video.
So what happened after birth?
I got a standing ovation. That's what I got.
God.
There.
This show is going to be terrible.
In my 44 plus years on this wide green earth, I've went to many concerts. I've been an actor for a little over 20 plus years. Well, even more than that now. I'm almost at 20 years at the Venetian. I've did a summer stock, super summer theater. Courtney, that is with us now, Siege. I've been directed several times with her. I don't think we've never done a show together though.
No.
I don't think
no.
so.
It's usually
She
just
directed a show.
It's usually-
Yeah, but I've never been on stage with
never
him.
been a partner with me in there.
So as you mentioned, she doesn't crack the whip.
She doesn't. No, she's like we were saying before in the last episode that there are several types of directors, and the ones that I definitely get along with better are the ones that she can be stern. I have seen her
We've
be
had some
very
come to Jesus meetings.
come to Jesus with like personal one-on-one come into Jesus moments, and then other come into. But I've seen her mad. You do not want to see her mad.
Does she turn into She-Hulk?
A very short
You know what?
She-Hulk, but
You know
yeah.
what?
Outstanding.
You know, you never see them in the same room twice. Right? Yeah, they're never in the same
True.
room.
Wow, you blew that one.
They're twice in the same room. Okay. Yeah, I will neither confirm nor deny that.
Okay, what about you, Siege?
I am a writer and a director and a producer, and I used to act. I don't do it all that often anymore. I've been doing that since I was about 12 years old. I play a couple instruments. Not great, but I play them. And I've seen concerts and live shows and all sorts of other stuff. So
Nice.
that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
I think me and Jason are going to have the same resume. Go ahead, Jason.
I have some acting on my resume. In high school, I did plays. Was a lead in one.
Was it Quasimodo?
No, it was not.
Okay.
It was Am I Blue? That was the.
Were you?
one. I was.
Okay.
Of course.
I was a long time drummer for 24
Million
or so
years.
years, and played in school, played in jazz band, expanded into original music, have gigged, played shows, was a booker in the original music scene around 2000.
God, that's got to be tough. I've always,
in a couple of clubs. It had its ups and downs for sure. I've done a little bit of improv comedy when Second City was around. I took a couple years of the classes doing the musical improv, the improv. And I'm also a writer and have done, again, the performance writer.
Nice.
Podcaster. I do that too.
Yeah, I've done podcasts, I guess. I played a little bit. I've acted a little bit. I preached, the whole thing. So, yeah. If you guys can picture me at this point in my life being a preacher, it's funny.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
I did play in a church band too.
Oh, you know what? And I got to say this is controversial. I've played literally every style of music. Church music is some of the funnest stuff to play.
It is.
It's
really
the most
is.
fun to sing.
Oh, it's, yeah. I go to, when I play more charismatic type churches.
Yeah.
They're fun.
I used to sing in church choir, and it was always...
And the ultimate freedom of being able to play in front of a live audience, and even as the bass player, you can move things.
Yeah.
A lot of bands, you don't have that kind of freedom.
Right.
But with the church bands, those are actually really fantastic.
I had a lot of fun doing that too.
Wow. We stay away from religion like the plague, but not like in a personal sense, on a show sense.
Like a biblical plague.
Exactly.
Right.
There
There
you
were
go.
10 of them.
The fifth one. The locusts. So I guess we've all have enough experience to be able to talk about stuff. And now with me saying that, I'm going to completely blow all that out of the water because we are doing a game show.
Here's a generic game show for you.
Okay, on this game show, I did something a little bit different, and
Impossibly hard.
Oh my gosh.
Kidding.
now I looked up a bunch of when you're watching the credits on a movie, you see these different titles of jobs. You're like, what is it that they do? So what I'm doing is
I don't read that. I'm just waiting for the Marvel extra scene.
that's the problem,
One must never get up during Marvel credits.
unless it's Howard the Duck.
I just had a bad flashback. Thanks.
Too
for that.
soon? Too
Yes.
soon?
Yeah,
Okay.
always.
So I'm giving the definitions of some of these jobs, and you guys have to simply guess what is the job title.
Okay.
So the first one,
I see the points just off the paper in this
Right, like
game
I'm
show.
just-
yeah, there will be no
not gonna
points
get
on the
any of these.
paper.
Yeah.
Okay, the grunts who fetch and carry props and other equipment to and from the set. The official title is, let's start with, we're going to go in reverse order today. Jason.
Gopher.
No, but that's a nice guess.
Okay.
I put stagehands.
Stage crew.
Swing gang. The swing
Gang.
That sounds
Why
like
does
a
that remind you of, like,
1940s,
Doesn't it?
like noir
When you're
characters.
swing gang, you're in
Right.
the swing gang, and you're swinging, and the
I
gang.
guess they could swing it.
And this is
Yeah.
one that I've always wondered what it was, so I'm kind of happy I figured out what this one is. The person in charge of the paperwork for administrating the head grips or gaffer's crew can take care of timesheets, salaries, and so on. And this is honestly something I've always wondered whenever I saw it on the, on the credits.
The administrative gopher.
No,
Megan.
I don't know.
Inside joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
A stage manager.
It's our stage manager.
Stage manager. The actual correct title is best boy.
Oh, I had that for something
I
else.
usually just, a best boy is usually just my dog.
You're
No, that's the goodest boy.
You're the best boy.
I thought that's where you go get like electronics and DVDs and video games and stuff like that at great low prices, right?
That's
Best
Best
Good.
Buy.
That's Best
Buy.
Buy.
You're the Best Buy.
If are they still in business this week?
Who
Yeah.
knows?
I don't know. Okay.
There's one down the street from my house. There's like 2 cars in front of it every day.
Okay. This technician handles the mic and its paraphernalia, making sure it's in position to record sound to its best advantage. requires a steady hand to hold the mic over the heads of the actors? Jason?
The key grip.
No.
Thank you for saying that, because I was torn between two. It's the gaffer?
No.
It's not the gaffer?
But we will run into that one later.
The boom operator?
The boom operator. Woohoo! Finally, there's a point on the board.
I actually also wrote the audio tech gopher, but I don't think that's right either. So yeah, okay.
The gopher's
Nice.
gopher.
You could have said the less talented recording engineer. Okay, next one up. Let's see. Traditionally, this position is a woman. This person makes sure that if an actor is walking towards the sun in one shot, he's walking the same direction in the next shot, even if the camera's at a different angle. Or if there's a cat in the room in one shot, the cat's still got to be there in the next shot. And when they come back the next day, everything's the same on the table. What is the name of this position?
Well, I wrote the spotter or the consistency coordinating gopher.
You're close.
Everything's a gopher, isn't
Right.
it?
I put the continuity assistant.
I think I'm going to give you a point for that.
Okay.
Script supervisor.
It's the continuity clerk.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
So I'll give that
okay.
one to Kosh, 'cause that's pretty close.
Yay, Kosh.
You got continuity. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
That's the big
Very
one.
good.
I got the
Well-
C word.
Okay, did we get the continuity on that one?
Yeah.
Did we get it from last week?
Oh.
Okay.
This
my
whole
pencil's
game's going to
moved
be like
over
this,
here.
I think.
The chief electrician responsible for lighting the set. More generally, the technician who makes the set run.
I wrote the key grip again.
No.
I'm gonna gaffer.
Gaffer is it?
Hey!
Did you actually write that one down?
No. But you said it was gonna come up later. I'm like, okay,
Oh.
good. I did now for continuity's sake.
Oh, you guys should see the sassy look on his face right now.
That's
Courtney?
Gaffer!
It's more goofy surprise.
Gaffer.
I should have wrote gaffer because I would have had the gaffer gopher. Actually,
See,
down
like
in that
everything
case.
you've got is gopher.
I
You
do
gotta
have gopher
stay
at the
with
end of everything.
Stay
Yep.
with your theme.
Okay, the next one up will be, let's see. This is kind of an interesting one because I thought this was something entirely different. The set scrounger, responsible for finding objects to make the set more atmospheric or realistic.
The prop gopher.
No. Kosh?
You won't let me say what I want to say. the scruffer.
Not in that kind of movie.
What?
Really? Artistic designer?
No, believe it or not, it's the lead man.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that was like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, all sorts of behind-the-scenes
You're
stuff going on
dirty.
today. Okay. This person directs a unit that photographs sequences for which the director and principal actors are not required.
The second unit director.
Did you cheat?
No, I wrote
Oh.
the second unit director.
Andy Serkis.
And I did say gopher at the end, but I did
There
write
you go.
second.
1
unit,
point.
Second unit director.
Second
gopher.
unit director. Yeah, I said the same
How
thing.
would you guys all know this one?
Because when you read the clue out, you told us what
said
it was.
Said second-
make it?
But I'm going to say, I did put second unit director, but I'm also going to say Andy Serkis because he was the second unit director in
That
The
is the
Hobbit.
second unit director.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Okay.
There's my little nerdy
Oh,
moment.
he's so precious.
Give the man an Oscar now.
Okay, so for our two bonus questions, and this is because I am an audio guy, there are two types of mics made by the same company, and I'll give you this much: a Shure, that is the most common in any live performance. Name these mics and what they're used for. There's a point if you tell me the right mics, and there's a point if you tell me what they're used for. Let's start with you, Jason.
The Shure 57 and the Shure 58 direct an area.
57, 58, yes. What's the 57 used for?
I would say direct. It's not an area mic. The 58 is an area mic. The Shure
I need you to be more specific in what they're used for.
Just give him
There's
the
a
point.
very simple way of doing it. But okay,
emceeing, monologuing, dialogue.
for 57, okay. What do you got, Kosh?
Well, we had a little bit of confusion. Me and Courtney were very confused about this because we were thinking like stage, like theater actual mics. So I put there's a floor mic where they can be used to like, especially for tap dancing or whatnot. They can pick up the taps for the floor.
You know what? I will give that to you if you can tell me what kind of mic it is.
Wait a minute.
We
Go
just
back to
call
me
it a
after
floor
this.
mic
Yeah, we just call it a floor mic.
because we're not tech people.
Go back to me because actually I got it.
Okay, go
Shure
back.
57 for sound effects, for instrumentation, for things like that, and the 58 for voices.
That's right. I'll give those to you.
Okay.
Because he has to win this game.
Right, like let him have those points. He's doing better than I am.
And the 57 is a direct mic, and the 58 is area.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Ish.
Yeah. Okay.
Gopher.
The 57 very simply goes on to your guitar, and the 58 is what you're talking into. In fact, to really cheat, what you three are talking into is a Shure
58.
SM58.
Yes, these are 58s.
And then the 59s go on the Gophers.
But
All the
but the
all the
the mics you are looking for is called the PZM.
Okay.
It's a pressure.
That's the floor mic.
It's a pressure mic. That's a floor mic.
And then we have head mics too. Either they go on the side or they go over the top, like
Body
to
mics.
Yeah.
like the crest of the hair. Which I thought it was a lattice, it was a lattice. What is it?
A lavalier is a body mic.
Lavalier. Oh yeah.
Lavalier.
Yeah.
Mics, yeah.
It can also be used a head mic.
Yeah.
The Garth Brooks mic is the most famous way of saying it because he was the one that made it famous in the first place.
I always thought when I saw. I think the first time I actually saw that, I thought it was like the princess from the Never-Ending Story. How she had the
Yeah,
little
because
thing on
sometimes
there.
they sit right
Yeah.
in theater.
I
We'll
can
have
see
them.
that
They'll
now.
sit in the part of somebody's hair, or
Yeah, I love when you guys are pointing because this is an audio podcast.
I know because they're gonna see what we're saying.
Right here, people, just right there.
If you look over there,
Go
Right.
Go into the
Where the
mirror while
third
you're
eye
listening to the
is.
podcast,
Right.
and then just touch the top of your forehead.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's count this up. Wow, talk about a come from behind victory. We have Courtney and Kaj with a tie of 3 points,
We're awesome.
which
Boom.
you know what,
Ow.
not bad.
We'll take
Right?
it.
And Jason, because he
Shot
came
dark.
back and worked some magic, I'll give it to him because it would have been a 3-way tie. But he got a 6-pointer.
oh, very nice.
Nice.
Very
Yay.
cool. So, yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
thank
No, you got 5 points. I miscounted.
Yeah.
But you got 5 points.
Well,
You still
thank
won.
you. That was
Good job.
Yeah, very good.
You win nothing.
I win nothing.
The admiration of all Mic dorks out
And
there.
all
Hey.
and all the attempts with the Gophers didn't matter because it came down to the microphones.
Which, let's be honest, to me, what's going to be the important thing that I'm going to give the most points to? My stuff.
Right.
Well, sort of like actors, they think that they're the only important ones in the theater, you know,
When it's really just
What,
the
we're not?
directors.
when it's really just the tech crew.
Or the audience.
Directors.
Oh, gee.
I will say this.
Without the
I
directors.
would say it's the stage manager.
In case of Megan, yes. And
no,
if she's
just any
listening to
stage
that, I better
manager.
earn some points for that.
That is the one thing. Like they are
Yeah.
the unsung heroes that they need to every
They
time.
run
Every time I do start a show, I always go up and thank the stage manager because they're going to have a lot of
yeah.
stuff on their plate.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
you know
big-
what? That's
big job.
something I have huge respect for as far as Henry Rollins. I guess he was playing a show and one of the under bands was giving the stage guys crap. He went down, screamed in their face, "They're more important than you. They're better than you. You are scum without them." I'm like, he posted this big article about it. You know,
Yeah.
I respect.
You know what? If Henry Rollins would have had the balls to come up to me and do that, I'd have cowered like a little girl and just ran
Because it's
away.
Henry
I
Rollins.
think any of us. I think if me, you, and Kosh were standing together, we'd still cower away like little
Like
kids.
even now, if you were to open the door right now,
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah,
like,
you're
okay.
right. I would cower like a
So if Henry
small
Rollins
child. and
listens to the show, can you come on the show and just
make me cower
just
like a
yell
Because
little
he's
child?
Henry Rollins, so you're kind of... I don't know if I would cower. I might bat my eyes at him. I'm not sure.
Tell us a story.
tell me about Deadly Class? You were so good
that
on
Black
it.
It was
Flag?
so
Just not
awesome.
there.
I
I
love
love
him,
Black
so I'd be
Flag.
like, dude, it's you.
How can you be so angry and still a vegetarian? I'm
I know.
confused.
I just
I
want
love
him
it.
to come back because I know that he. I know Sean got to see him a few years ago when he was just doing his story tour.
Uh-huh.
We was just doing his open word thing, and it sounded amazing. Where he was a storyteller, just talk about all this stuff with Black Flag and Iggy Pop and just all of his life experiences. That sounds amazing. I would
Right.
totally.
And I
to
love
see
that he's a geek.
Yeah.
Right.
He's
Is
heard
your-
Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah.
Is your jaw actually made of iron?
Right. His friendship with RuPaul is probably my most favorite thing about
that's
him.
cool.
Right?
Like they're like they've been buddies for years.
Don't you want to see a comic book loosely based on? I mean, the look. The hero would be Henry Rollins.
That'd be cool.
He just did a movie. What was it? They,
He was
they think I was
Deadly.
dead or something? Or
He was just in a TV show, Deadly Class, which is a comic book.
I haven't
As
seen
much
that.
as I love John Bernthal, he'd have been a great Punisher. Henry Rollins.
Not now.
Well,
15 years ago,
yeah.
yes.
I really do like John Bernthal.
Me too.
How are we
He is
getting
gross.
on these tangents?
I don't know, we just-
I don't know.
Holy crap.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so let's get back
Yes,
to what we're
Bernthal
supposed to be
is awesome.
talking about.
Gophers.
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 Hey, get in the hole. I've got a Caddyshack.
Seriously.
Yes.
All that's running through my head right now is I'm all right.
Okay, so let's talk about what makes a live show, good or bad. You can have crappy material and it can kill on stage. You can have Shakespeare and it's crap on stage. What's the difference between a good and a bad show?
Sound. Good.
Well, okay, I in my world, yes, I agree with you, but please,
What makes a good
That's
show?
it's hard to quantify.
I have a quick story
okay.
that may.
Is it about a man
tell
named
the
Jen?
story.
No.
Me and Courtney will think about this.
It may put this into focus. Okay.
Okay.
I went to the House of Blues
Okay.
and I saw Neil Finn, who is known as the lead singer for Crowded House and
Okay.
Split Ends.
Don't try this over.
There was approximately 200 people at the show, so the venue was very empty. Okay, and so he came out, and you could see the look on his face for a moment, like, "Oh my God, there's only 200 people here." But then he got the sense and he understood that these 200 people were huge fans of him and the music. And once he caught that vibe, he gave to these 200 people the absolute most emotion-packed, well-sung, best show with 2 encores that one of the best shows I've ever been to. It's not on my list. That's why I can talk about it. And I think that what comes into that show, what makes a great show is empathy for the room. I think that empathy and understanding of the room that you're in and sort of a mutual empathy, give and take feed with the audience. Now, granted, that might not apply to everything because there's different sorts of performances. But in this type of show, I think that the empathy, the mutual exchange of empathy.
I just kind of define that a little bit more. I mean, how do you empathize with, let's say 100 people? How do you empathize with those people while they're empathizing with you? How does that work?
Well, in
Just magic?
the setting with Neil, he just, again, his face changed, the enthusiasm changed. You saw him go from to, all right, I'm giving this everything I have. I'm going to give it the enthusiasm, the humor, the good performance, the everything. He applied himself as an artist, fully committed to the show.
Okay.
And I've seen concerts where they haven't, and that makes a difference.
I would say in stage shows, I read this like probably about 10, 15 years ago. Somebody gave it to me that as far as an actor or performer on stage, when you go out there, and we have pep talks before we get out there, kind of build up our energy or whatnot. And the thing is like you have to remember that these people are paying tickets to come see your show, and they might just had a bad day and want to just escape for a couple of hours for whatever show that you have. They could be a married couple that are on the rocks that are trying to rekindle their relationship, and they're coming to see your show to do that. It could be a little girl who is sick, and like Little Shop of Horrors is her favorite theater show of all time, and she's coming to see you, and you have to be 150%.
Right.
Little side note, when I was doing the Andrews Brothers with Courtney here, I can say now, since we're kind of I think we've talked about this before, that especially like the preview show, the Thursday show, there was a lot of, well, I'm not going to say for anybody else, but for me, I was kind of unsure how that was going to go. There was a lot of speed bumps, there were a lot of things that came on, and it was like my confidence was a little bit shaken. And
was that opening night?
I think it was the
Thursday
preview for the Thursday, the Winter Thursday. But went out there. First half went okay. I'm like, all right. And then when we get to the second half, when it's actually like the USO show, we're doing it. We're dressed in drag. We're doing our show and everything. And I think it was Walt's niece. And I'm looking over and doing my thing, and I see Walt's niece over there just having the best time of her life. Her eyes were lit up like a Christmas tree, big old Joker grin on her face, and just clapping. Her like I'm surprised her hands were bleeding by the end of it. Like, she was just amazing. And that little girl just sent like a lightning bolt through my system.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we got a show.
Well,
she enjoyed it.
I think maybe I wasn't using exactly the right words, but I think that's what I kind of am saying. It's like a feeding and a give and take, and a feeding and an empathetic understanding of seeing that little girl, like you understood, that you were giving what you needed to give, and then you ramped it up even more.
Yeah, get out of your headspace and just give them the best possible show that you can give them.
Yes,
absolutely.
Now, Siege, let me ask you, as a director, how is it then as a director? Does it kill you when you can see a show happen on two different nights that you've directed and they did everything you told them to, and one night it just kills and one night it drops? Or do you take responsibility on that? Or is it just all about the moment that happens?
To a certain extent. I was trying to find a quote that Carol Channing has. She had about exactly what you're talking about. Is like your performance is built about what you feel from the audience. If your audience is dead, you have a tendency to be dead on stage. We talk about that in Andrews Brothers before we do our pep talk, is to not let any possibility of a dead audience destroy what you're doing on stage, because you need to have fun too, because that'll bring the audience up as well. Sometimes audiences are just quiet. If I see, if there's a drastic difference between a show from one show to a next, and I can see that it's not like an audience-based reaction, because sometimes you will just get a dead audience who's either not enjoying themselves or they're not vocal, and your actors, no matter what they do, they're not going to be able to get themselves excited about what they're doing. You just can't. You just feel very, very desolate on stage if you're not being fed something. So, yes, it is my job as a director to make sure that they don't suffer from that. But once they go out on stage and the lights go up, there isn't anything I can do for them anymore. I mean, we might talk about it after the show, but they're kind of on their own once those lights go up.
Let me ask you a question, Siege. Sometimes, for a dead audience, like you said, sometimes do you think that there are factors in the audience that the stage people aren't even aware of? Like, they're just, the seats aren't comfortable, or it's too cold, or something. And that could be contributing to the issue of the audience lack of enthusiasm.
This is a good story. I've got two different shows where I've actually been the audience member. I went to Utah Shakespearean Festival and I saw Othello. And it was the most beautiful performance of Othello I've ever seen. The audience was really quiet. We were also really cold because it was the outside venue and it had been warm and lovely all day long. It just had dropped so significantly, and then none of us had thought to bring jackets. I mean, I would say probably 60% of us were sitting there in t-shirts, and we were just freezing because it was starting to snow.
I think I was there that year.
Yeah, I mean, it was a gorgeous performance, but it was so cold that none of us could really react because we were just so worried about not freezing to our seats. On the other hand, I saw another version of Othello, which was by far the single worst production of Othello I'd ever seen up there. The audience was bored. it was the first time in my life that I contemplated leaving at intermission because I knew what was going to happen. I'm like, I know what happens. I don't need to stay and see it because I've seen it 15 times. That was the production's fault, and the audience was dead. The other one, it was the weather in the outside amphitheater was freezing the adorable audience who was having fun. I mean, we were really enjoying the production.
Right.
We just couldn't react because we were freezing our butts off. So it's just, that's a lot of it. I mean, in the case of like with Andrew's Brothers, we had a couple of nights where we started off slow, but that's because the audience didn't know what to expect. Okay. That's the other thing. If you get an audience that's not really quite sure, theatrically, if you're not really quite sure what you're going into, you're going to be hesitant when you're watching, and you might have that audience that doesn't quite interact with you just right off the bat. But they'll warm up if they enjoy it.
Unless they're at the Shakespeare Hotel. Or
unless they're freezing to death.
Well, I've noticed too, because I'm that way too, is like I want to show respect for the performers, so that's why I don't, like, everybody's just very quiet because it's almost like a movie. It's like, you know, they kind of separate of like, they can't hear us, but they actually can. And so, because I've been that audience member too, because I've had seen friends on stage and everything. They're like, it's a you can be vocal in the show if you want to. I'm like, okay, and then I don't. I'm just like, just watching the show. So.
Okay, now I want to kind of, as we're talking about the audience participation, I guess, let's talk that high that the performers get from the audience. You know, you put on a good show, the audience loves you, and there's like no feeling on earth. It's the perfect drug, for lack of a better. Now, I was talking to a guy that has been playing for, I don't know, 50 years. Played big time and all that other stuff. And I got to sit down and talk to him a little bit. And he said that the reason why all of these musicians go off and, you know, they end up having serious drug problems is because you're always trying to recreate that high. Because you get that for 1 hour a day, and then you have 23 hours a day or whatever of not. Because it's addictive, and you're always trying to fill that hole. Do you think there's any truth to that, or do you think that's just a cop out? Because hey, musicians like to get high.
Well, I would.
Or artists, I should say.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, Courtney, but I think it's just more of like an insecurity. Like if if the meaning of their life is just to get that high of a standing ovation or to get that applause at the end of the show, then
there's other issues at play.
Yeah, like they need to start kind of filling their life with things that are more meaningful.
But you don't get to be Billy Joel or Elton John or Freddie Mercury unless your whole life is going for that moment. Your whole life, I mean, as a full-time, let's say as a full-time artist, of performing artist, that has to be. Otherwise, you're not going to be a performing artist very long. Every part of your life has to be filled with trying to get to that moment.
Well, I don't know about Billy Joel or.
And I'm not saying they're drug addicts, blah blah blah. Anything else,
but I can kind of just like seeing the glorified version of like Bohemian Rhapsody for Queen. Like that's Freddie Mercury was that he wanted to be
that moment.
And that's a lifestyle too. That's what he wants. He wants to like share in that lifestyle. I don't know. I still just go back to the insecurity. Like if you can make it into a competition where like you want to be the best at something, and if you are the best at it, you get applause. That's great, but you can't just. Your whole life shouldn't be about trying to chase that dragon of getting your performance high. It's great. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing.
Like
I think the point he brings up is good, Kaj, about how it's not just the high you get from performance, but it's the high you get from being this iconic personality. Like Freddie Mercury portrayed in Bohemian Rhapsody as always needing to be in this exciting spotlight to the point where like he didn't know what to do with himself if he wasn't.
Right.
I could see how drugs could play a part in that. But it's more than just the performance high. Because not that I have really great drug experiences, but I've experienced a performance high, and I've experienced being drunk Okay, and they're completely different. You know,
Oh,
they're not. They're
I
not. Yeah,
completely agree.
and it's never like, ooh, I had to fill this void with, you know, that sort of thing. They're just. I think they're just too different. You know, I think. I don't know.
Well, like Ray Charles would only do heroin on when he was out on tour because he was filling up his time with that high.
Right.
And say, you know, maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just, you know, someone I want to talk about.
Actors,
How about you, Courtney?
actors tend to be insecure creatures. I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about.
right? And as someone
Tell me
who,
what you're
We're talking all about you.
right. My emphasis now is more on directing, but I used to act a lot. So I speak from experience, and we tend to be insecure creatures, anyways. That's why we play pretend all the time. I don't know. I mean, I have felt that performance high, but I have never done drugs because I've never needed to try to get something artificially when I can just get that from. And if I'm not getting the performance high, like if I'm not doing a show, it doesn't cause me to hate myself and want to fall into a void. But I've never reached the pinnacle of, say, like a Freddie Mercury would. You know, I'm just your typical average community theater girl who's done some really bad extra work. So, I mean, I think...
The insecurity is the same, though.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is, and I think to some extent, the insecurity probably gives people an excuse
Fair enough.
to do the things that they probably shouldn't do.
I
could buy that.
I got a good addition to that as well, because what about the bug, as we like to call it? You know, once you get bitten by the bug, that it's like there are some people that want to chase that high, that performance high about getting the ovation, but for performers like we Jones for like once we're done with the show,
what are you going to do next? What's next?
Yeah, it takes a couple of weeks to kind of just taper off of that, but then you really want to, and it's not just getting that the applause. It's getting back to your friends, getting back to your tribe, and
getting back to the process.
Yeah, getting back into doing another show and like building that up in the process. The journey to get there. Yeah,
there's a great quote, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who it is. I think it might be Michael Caine, but I'm not. Michael Caine, actually. I think, I'm not sure, but it's the quote is, if you can imagine yourself doing anything else, do that instead. But if you cannot, and I think it applies to all kinds of creative fields, performance fields, like if you see yourself being a writer, or you can see yourself being a director or an actor or musician, and if that's the only thing you can see yourself doing, then you are supposed to do that, whether it be, in my particular case, where it's my secondary job. That's not the bill-paying job, but it's the secondary job. I've never given it up. Some people can do it full-time. If I could get paid full-time to do it, that's exactly what I would be doing. No offense to my boss if she's listening to this podcast, which she probably isn't, but sorry, Karen.
Tagging Karen.
Right, we love her. But that's a good point. It's if you can imagine yourself doing anything else, that's what you need to do, because that is not where the full heart of you is.
I can say this that kind of tags along to that one. The most miserable I ever was when the music opportunities dried up for me, and I could no longer play original music in original bands.
Yeah.
It physically hurt.
It physically hurt. There are 3 years of my life.
Hit that.
There are 3 years of my life that I actually barely remember because of how miserable they were. But what changed it for me and made all of that okay was when my daughter was born. Because I realized that if I'd have done anything differently,
you wouldn't have her.
I wouldn't have her.
Yeah.
So that to me was a huge epiphany. And from that point, I have then gone in to do the things that are creative. You know, I wrote a book, I do the podcasts, I still dabble in music and things like that. But it doesn't have so much of a focal obsession, because for me, I realize that what I actually enjoy the most is being a dad. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, that's kind of where I sit as far as the podcasting thing goes. I mean, everything else that I was doing, the music and acting and millions of other things, they've all kind of built up the whole podcasting thing. This is what I imagine myself doing now. I mean, I have my kids, and that's my life. But this is my other side of my life, and this is what makes me happy. Somebody gives us a positive review or something else like that. That's my performance high. Every single time. I've been doing podcasting for about 5 years in different shows and all that. It has not gotten old. Sometimes it's hard to find new subjects to talk about, but it never, ever, ever gets old. We always have a different conversation, and that's me. This is my art now, and I do appreciate you guys coming in and helping me make art. Whether you guys think it is art or just a fun waste of time, this is actually, to me, as fun of a performance as like I know that you might get at a play or anything else, gosh, or Jason, if you're playing drums somewhere. I think this, for me, this is my performance, my high.
I have a lot of fun doing this.
I think I can speak for all of us that we're under contract. That's why we're here.
That's exactly.
Except for me.
Yet.
I've
already got graphic novels.
Similar feeling. I mean, I wanted to do this for a lot longer than I've actually done it, and then being given the opportunity is great, and then learning enough about it to start another show. I feel it. I understand.
I think you guys bring up a good point with that. Is as artists, we start out doing something, but as we grow as people, our art also changes.
And if it doesn't, you're doing something wrong.
Exactly. Like for me, when I first started out in the artistic world, I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be an actor. And now I find I'm much happier directing and writing. That's what I like to do. And next year, I'm going to dabble in documentary filmmaking. So, but my art is changing. As I evolve as a person, my art evolves. And that's what happens. That's what's happened with you guys. Your art started at one level, but now, because of being older and life experiences, this is what you do now. Doesn't make it any less creative and less arty as it was before.
Well, we get to sit the whole time,
which is nice.
That's true. But art constantly evolves, people constantly evolve, and artists constantly evolve. And you don't ever start. I don't think people really ever end up doing the same thing artistically that they did when they were 12.
Nice.
I agree
20.
completely.
Cool.
For that matter.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, we were going long, so I got to cut parts of the show out, and we're going to jump right on to the main event.
Now it's time for the main event.
Okay, I know we just played the music, but we're still gonna do we're still gonna get to the main event in just a second. But we want to do a Kaj and Courtney, or Kaj and Siege, however you want to say it. Keej. Do a real quick do's and don'ts for etiquette in when you're going to these live shows, because oh my gosh, a lot of things bother me. So I want to throw these two want to throw these out real quick. So
all right,
you two take it real quick.
All right, there are 4 main ones that we like right off the bat that we thought. So here are the 4 things that you do not do when you're going through a live performance. Number 1, turn off your friggin' phones.
And don't look at it.
Don't look at it. You're paying money to see the performers, not to friggin' put it on Instagram or like to check your Facebook while you're listening to a song. Enjoy the show. Don't be on your phones.
Don't come late. Come early. And if you do come late, don't be that jerk that stands at the door and expects to be let into the production once it's already started. Because I'll hurt you.
Wow.
Rule number 3. Do not heckle the actors. This is not Rocky Horror Picture Show. All right, unless it's Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Or who's
then go right ahead.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's because who was it that just did that? Somebody was some audience member was heckling. It was
Patty Lupone will tell you off at any point in time.
Yeah, she will stop the performance and come, and so will Cyndi Lauper. Cyndi Lauper kicked out somebody from her concert because they were doing that. So yeah, don't heckle.
And please don't leave before the curtain call. Those actors have worked really, really hard for you for at least 2 hours. Please have the courtesy to sit there, even if you hated it.
Fair enough.
I would probably add, like, control your gas.
That's
yeah, that's a
there's
different
very
story
little.
altogether.
If you can.
Sticking a cork in it is about your only.
Don't bring your baby. Would that be?
I'm not going to be the one that tells people not to bring their babies.
That depends on the performance, and we'll leave it at that.
We'll add that to heckling.
Okay, so our main event is we're doing our top 5 best live events that we have personally ever seen or been in or part of in some way or the other. So starting with my number 5, and I've seen them in concert probably 10 times, and that would be Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. When they play, their musicianship is otherworldly. I mean, if you know who they are, they're absolutely the best virtuosos on their instruments. And what they can do as they're playing, they make you feel actually grateful that they're grateful when you applaud them. You know, and there's something about that humility that comes across on stage that, I haven't seen duplicated, and it's just, and especially from a musician of that caliber.
I haven't seen them, but I've seen Victor Wooten. He's awesome.
Yeah, the best musicians on the planet, bar none. So, but that's my number 5.
Nice.
Courtney?
Okay, number 5 is a show that I've seen twice. It's called War Horse, and it's based on the book, but also the movie. If you've seen it, the puppets, the 2 horses, Joey and Top Thorn, are puppets, and the puppeteers are so amazing. It's 3 per horse. It's so amazing that you literally forget that you are watching a puppet. And you believe that there are 2 giant horses on this stage.
Nice.
Wow.
And I've seen it twice, and I would see it 47,000 more times.
Literally?
It is so good. So
nice.
good.
My number 5 is I performed Young Frankenstein at Super Summer Theater a couple of years ago, and one of my it's probably in the top 5, but just from beginning, middle to end of that journey with that cast of people was just incredible. I will never ever forget that. It was amazing, even just with the opening night, and then there was a little bit of a thunderstorm, so you had like the lightning behind us and everything, and it just set the mood. The audience was amazing, fed us. Yes.
Well, and it was very nice. We on the show got to watch you go through that whole journey, because you weren't planning on it. This is going to be the last one I ever do. Blah 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 blah. And we knew that was bull, but but we got to see you go through that journey, and it was awesome.
Courtney was like, "Hold my beer."
My number 5 is actually my only tie, and this is honest tie, by the way. Playing the Huntridge Theater with my band Sofa Kingdom.
Oh, nice!
Just being able to be in that theater, that legendary place, and play a gig was a lot of fun. But my tie with that was seeing Young Frankenstein at Super Summer Theater, because that opening night show from the audience, with the storm going on behind you guys, was literally one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And to not only see you guys put on such a good show, but having that organic thing, I mean, I've never seen anything like that.
And like you were saying, like just chasing the dragon, like you get that magic. You're like, yep. That's why we do it.
And that night was indeed that magical.
Nice.
Very nice.
Okay, my number 4 is, I've seen another band I've seen multiple times, is Dave Matthews Band. Even when they have a bad show, it's a great show. And every time I've went to one of their shows, it's a different show. They're playing different music. Everything is different, and it's such a blast. They improv every single show, and some of it, and it is really. If you're into Dave Matthews, you get it. If you're not, you don't. So if you're into Dave Matthews, I highly recommend going. If you don't like them, don't go, because you'll be so bored unless you're a stoner.
Number 4 is a tie for me. It's 2 shows that I've directed that they're simply the best ones that I've ever directed. And one is Andrews Brothers, and I'm not just saying that because Kaja's sitting here.
I was in it too for one.
You
night.
were for one of those songs.
I was
because it was just such a fun show to do. And then the other one is called Puna The F Dog, and other stories for children. It is this twisted send up of every kid show that you'd ever imagine by Jeff Good, and it's dirty and it's raunchy and it's silly and it's fun.
Nice.
All right, so my number 4, it's a tie. I'm doing the tie this time.
Jason.
All right. Yeah, right. All right. So my the first part of the tie is my first concert with Def Leppard. It was the Adrenalize tour. Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look.
You know the joke I want to make.
It's yes, but still.
Think of what it would have been like if the drummer had 2 arms.
Oh, shut up.
Shut your hole. So I feel it was the Adrenalize tour, so I can't remember. I remember I was still in high school. It was at the Thomas & Mack Center, and it was the first time I'd ever seen a concert where the stage was in the center instead of like all the way to the back, the far wall.
I saw Hysteria, and it was the same thing in the round.
And it had a huge like circular drape, and we were sitting there waiting for it, and then all of a sudden do you want to get rocked? And all of a sudden, once the main drum line comes in, the curtain comes down, explosions go up, and it was like almost like a roller coaster where it went head first into it. Still remember it to this day. It was amazing. Loved it.
Let me just add one thing, Dub.
Okay.
So when I saw them in Hysteria, Tesla opened up for them. The Tesla drummer did a drum solo with his 2 arms. Mm-hmm. That was nothing compared to the one that Rick did with his 1.
That is true. And then my second one,
I do not doubt his technical prowess. But it's a fun joke to make.
the second part of the tie, Huey Lewis and the News. I've seen them 3 times.
Oh, nice.
They are amazing, and I'm so heartbroken that Huey Lewis is kind of stepped down because of his vocal cords are really not as good as they used to be. But his show was amazing. Like, love them. They're so good. Yeah.
My number 4, and I feel bad because I don't remember the cast, but I know that one of the members of the cast is very famous on Broadway and such. So maybe you guys can help me. I know that in Shrek, he played Farquaad. So if you guys can think of who that actor is. My number...
Broadway?
Yeah, my number 4...
Lithgow?
No, that's in the movie.
No, on the Broadway. But anyway, that's not my number 4. My number 4...
Christopher Sieber?
My number 4 is a Smith Center performance of La Cage aux Folles that I saw, which is based... The Birdcage movie that Robin Williams and Nathan Lane are in is based on that. Mm-hmm. And the one of the leads in that was the guy, again, who plays Farquaad on Broadway.
I think it's Christopher Sieber.
Okay, yes, Christopher Sieber.
He was in the original cast of Spam-A-Lot as well.
Right. He was... so amazing. I absolutely can't even tell you. I'm getting chills now remembering how good that show was. And I've seen a lot of stuff at the Smith Center, but nothing touched that show as far as how good that was.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay, so my number 3, every single Vegas Golden Knights game that I have been to, their home games, I've been to 5 or 6 different stadiums. Out of everything, they put on the best show I've ever seen in my life, including the national anthem. If that's what we're going on that one.
Well, no, I will.
We know CJ.
Yeah, I will jump into that as well because that was actually I was switching up my numbers, but the Vegas Knights playoff game that I saw, the very first one, yeah,
it's a show.
I've been to several other like professional games, but just you could cut that excitement with a knife. It was palpable. It was just it was ridiculous. Nice. So good.
Yeah, that's it. I love hockey. I've loved hockey for 29 years.
And we're going back.
Hopefully it's not a one and done.
Now we're gonna win.
Okay.
Down with the Sharks.
Number 3. Is that where we are?
Number 3.
Okay. Number 3 was a show I did at Super Summer Theater at the Ranch. We did a production of Ragtime. And I played Emma Goldman, and it was one of the roles that I've always wanted to play. And it was, I got to sing some great music with some of my best friends.
Oh, nice.
And it was just, it was just one of the most amazing experiences. One of the best shows I've ever been in up there.
Awesome.
Nice.
The only reason a Super Summer Theater wouldn't be higher on my list is because of how bad my ass hurt after being in that show, sitting on. No.
Did you sit on the ground?
Yes. Oh. And my butt hurt when it was
I've reached the point in my old age that I have to sit in a chair.
My number 3. I am a huge fan of Oingo Boingo. and I've seen them 3 times. The first time
Was it
I
like
saw
a Dead
them,
Man's Party?
I love it.
it wasn't. No, this was.
Or did you burn down the house on that one?
That's Talking Heads.
That's
dude.
nice try.
But anyway, so when 103.5, you guys remember the station 103,
Yes.
The Edge? Okay, they brought Oingo Boingo here. It may have been, if it wasn't the first time, it was the first time in a lot of years. And I saw them in the 3rd row at the Aladdin. And that first show with my wife was magic. I've seen them 2 other times, and it was okay. But that no, it was really good. But that first one was.
And you have how many children?
Oh.
You said magic.
It was.
What?
No,
Maybe
but
it really was a Dead Man's Party.
Oh.
No, but it was.
It's only me.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was.
Weird science.
You know, they were on. They were perfect. You know, Elfman sounds as good live as he does recording. So
Oh, yeah.
it was amazing.
Okay, so for my number 2, I'm going to defer to. Actually, we'll let Courtney do it, and then me and Kosh we're sharing one. So,
Okay.
what's your number 2?
Cyndi Lauper in concert.
Yeah.
How recently?
Gosh, probably in the 90s, because it was she opened for Cher's Believe tour, and the thing I remember about it is there was a band that played before, and I can't even remember what their name was, and they completely killed the vibe. And this was the MGM Grand Garden. That's how long ago this was. And she came out with green hair and a matching jacket and matching high heel shoes.
Nice.
All 5 foot nothing of her, and just obliterated the audience and brought everybody onto their feet after the first act to just kind of bored the crap out of everybody. And she just elevated the room. And when she did Money Changes Everything, I wanted to get down on my knees and cry. I mean, it was so good. The woman is amazing live. Try and see her live if you can.
Yeah.
Heck of a set of pipes on that woman.
Yeah. Well, speaking of green, that's
Yeah,
a good segue.
yes.
One of my favorite books of all time, by the way, too.
I think me and Dub are going to be defying gravity here in a
exactly.
little bit. Yes, both of our number
From the
2s
Smith Center.
are Wicked.
At the Smith Center.
At the Smith Center. Just
I yes, someday. I mean, it can't happen now, but I would have loved to have seen Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. But for what we get now, it is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, just
you don't. I mean, you miss those 2 because that's what the soundtrack you listen to and all that.
the OGs.
But
So.
you don't miss them. If that makes sense. Without.
I saw that twice.
Yeah,
at the Smith Center.
I will see that every time it comes into town. It's me and my wife's favorite show.
My wife and I. My wife loves that show too.
Oh, and it's the music's good. It's musical theater for people who don't like musical theater.
I'm sensing an iHeart Geek date.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Very nice. All right, my number 2 is kind of the encompassing Utah Shakespearean Festival, which I've been to a dozen times with my wife. And for a while, it was kind of a tradition. Finances and work and stuff eventually
Life gets in the way.
life got in the way. But I keep saying magic. I'm sorry to keep using that word, but
It's apropos for the Shakespeare Festival.
But almost every time there was at least one magical experience, and I started going when they started expanding away from Shakespeare and they started doing things like Cyrano de Bergerac and things like
I
that.
saw the best version of Cyrano de Bergerac in my life. I was 13 years old, and I can still tell you who played Cyrano, and his name was Randy Moore, and it was just...
Was it there? Mm-hmm. I bet I saw the same.
I was like 13 years old, yeah.
Yeah, so...
But I cried.
Same year they did Death of a Salesman?
I think so, yeah.
Yep, that was the thing. So, so Shakespearean Festival encompassing.
Sean will be pleased.
To piggyback off of that, another Shakespearean festival that you should check out if you're on the West Coast is the Ashland.
That's the second best.
I love that one.
The Utah
That's which one I
Shakespearean-
grew up going to because it was 2 hours away.
Utah Shakespearean Festival is actually the 3rd best Shakespearean festival in the country.
Which is the first?
New York.
Oh, okay.
It's New York, Ashland, and then Utah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I think 6 to 10 shows.
They've
I've
earned
never
that.
been to the
there.
Ashland one. but
They've
yeah, I've
earned that Tony
And
Award.
it is beautiful.
I've got a couple friends who are directing stuff up at Ashland this year. Yeah, so
you get us tickets?
I'll see. I'll see.
Okay. So my number one goes way back to 1993, and the first multi-concert I ever saw for 3 days, and it was life-changing. It was Lollapalooza in 1993. I mean, I'm in awe just talking about it. It was an outdoor festival. The sound was perfect. The bands were perfect. People were cool to each other. It wasn't like the butthole vibe I get at most concerts. It almost felt like a hippie festival, and I loved it. It was so much fun. It was a coming of age type moment for me. So I don't know if that's why, but yeah, some really good stuff happened. I enjoyed it a lot.
So I went back and forth on this one. But I think...
Did you land on back or fourth?
Fourth. I hadn't landed on fourth. I actually almost said Hamilton at the Smith Center, which was really great. But I'm going to go with The Crucible. I saw a production of The Crucible a couple of years back at the Old Vic in London. And it was Richard Armitage, for the geeks out there who know, Richard Armitage, who plays Thorin Oakenshield in The Hobbit, was John Proctor. It was so visceral and so raw. I didn't sleep well for like 4 days afterwards. It was just, the director I worship her work. I mean, it was just the most amazing production of this show that it was done in the round. You felt like you were really part of the parish. The girl who played Mary Warren, I never seen something so amazing on stage. I mean, it was just so good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you never forget your actual first main stage production of your show when you're an actor. And mine would be Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, nice.
Feed me, Seymour.
At Super Summer Theater. I was Phil Shelburne, PS Productions. Funny enough, I went from playing like bum number 3 for Skid Row to actually being the puppeteer for the plant.
Nice.
And it's what made me get the bug. Like I had done some like a sideshow for him for like, it was called Love Rides the Rails, but that was nothing in comparison to doing my first actual full blown show with him at the Super Summer Theater, and just I'll never forget it. It's why it's my favorite musical of all time.
Nice.
Sweet. Okay, so I tie my number one. I have to admit it. So the first one would be I saw Paul Simon at the Aladdin.
Yeah.
For Rhythm of the Saints. Second row center. Back when, it used to be
old Aladdin?
The old Aladdin. When it used to be affordable to go see a show. He had no opener. He played for 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
He did 3 encores. He had an amazing set of like sessions players and dudes up there, plus all the drummers, the Brazilian drummers for, it was just an amazing show, and he played with full energy. And then the other one would be, again, you talk about one of the first performances that you ever did on stage. In high school, I did a play called Miss Hanford Beauty Pageant and Battle of the Bands. It was the weirdest, craziest play that I have ever both seen and been in, and I got to play the part of one of the beauty pageant rock band judges who was a transvestite.
Okay.
And this was back in 1988. So what was interesting about that was I was like the whole popularity in high school thing, it's like I was like here in the middle, okay? Then when I did that play for a very brief time near the end of the year, I was at the top because people were like, you were that guy who played that transvestite. And I don't know, it was a weird, interesting kind of phenomena, like to experience the height of popularity was kind of strange, but I'll never forget like how fun it was to do that show for 3 nights.
Yeah.
And how much people just had fun because that show was wacky.
Nice. And that's a show, kids. Check out the website, www.iheartgeekshow.com. Use the column we paid extra for it. Go to the Facebook. Talk to us. Hey, you can talk to Courtney now.
Yeah.
Go to the Twitter, at iHeartGeekShow. Everything else. We're on Spotify if that's your bag. We're on iTunes. We're whatever. That's your bag. Is that still a term. Okay. Anyway, so until next time, I'm Dub.
I'm Siege.
I'm Kaj.
I'm PB and Gopher. Keep on geeking on.
All right, once more with feeling.
You've been listening to iHeartGeek. Our Twitter account is @iHeartGeekShow. Hope you enjoyed the show.